On this week's show, we've got gaming news and previews, a brand new interview, and a review of the newly remastered Tony Hawk Pro Skater games. Up first is a quick recap of this week's gaming and esports news. Let's start with Post Malone, who joins an elite group of musicians, including Drake and The Weeknd, who have invested in esports teams. Malone announced recently that he's taken part ownership of the Texas-based Team Envy. It's not often that politics and gaming intersect, but the makers of Animal Crossing New Horizons are challenging that with an addition of Joe Biden yard signs to their successful game. You can add these political statements to your island home by scanning the design QR codes through the Nintendo Switch online app. Last week, Gamescom was held virtually and there were many amazing announcements and game previews. Here are just a few of the ones that caught our attention.
Sand sharks from above. Last one.
Give Mr. Adler whatever he wants.
Star Wars was also featured quite heavily at Gamescom, starting with the reveal of the Journey to Batuu game pack for The Sims 4, coming out on September 8th.
Cutie proved very useful while on missions, causing distractions, taking out obstacles, slicing panels, but really just being a great friend.
Our favorite characters from a galaxy far, far away will also be coming to the LEGO universe next spring with the Skywalker Saga, which recreates the entire Skywalker family story from 9 different movies.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
So be it, Jedi.
And finally, Star Wars Squadrons gameplay footage was shown for the first time. The spaceflight combat game arrives in October.
Ladies, change course and keep Agent Thorne safe. Titan 3, take out those fighters.
Understood. I'll handle it.
Squadrons is also playable in virtual reality, as is the new PlayStation version of Vader Immortal, which allows you to learn the ways of the Force and master your lightsaber skills. If you're a fan of VR, then you'll want to head over to our Twitch channel and watch our live streams of Iron Man VR, Five Nights at Freddy's VR, and more.
Oh, wait, how do I get out of here? No! Ah!
Now it's time to take a look at this week's new releases. Up first is NBA 2K21, which is the latest installment in the long-running series that dates back to 1999.
Antetokounmpo against Morris with the second effort, and Antetokounmpo lays it in.
Up next is Marvel's Avengers.
Yield to the storm! Why don't you guys take a break? Your battle is here. Power of the All-Father!
And finally, we have the return of Tony Hawk Hawk Pro Skater. We are so excited that Activision brought back this classic game that we put together this review.
Chuck back with you for another game review, and I will tell you I am excited for this one. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, 20 years later, the remastered version, in my opinion, is the best recreated game to date. While offering 4K quality graphics and a soundtrack that throws it right back, the controls feel the same as they did in 1999. All of the maps in the game are just as I remembered. I got my headphones on, hitting the vert with some Primus, or kicking it in the streets with a Tribe Called Quest. And if the maps from 1 and 2 aren't enough, you can create your own park or download others that have been created by the community. So, get out there and see if you can land Tony's famous 900. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 is available right now on PS4, Xbox One, and PC at the Epic Game Store. As always, good luck and have fun.
Lawrence Technological University has powered state champs for years, and their main campus is located in Southfield, Michigan. So we're very excited to announce that we're partnering with Southfield Parks and Rec for a series of esports tournaments that they're hosting this fall. Up first is a 7-week League of Legends tournament starting on September 19th. They're also holding a Call of Duty Warzone tournament on September 26th and 27th. And a Fortnite tournament will round out their schedule on October 3rd and 4th. You can get more info such as tournament format and rules by calling Southfield Parks and Rec or visiting their website. Also, you do not need to be a resident of the city to participate, but there is a small $5 fee and you must be 15 years or older. Make sure to sign up now because space is limited and you don't want to miss out on all that fun.
What's going on? Kevin with you for another one of my tips and tricks in Rocket League. And today we are going back to the basics, double jumping. On a controller, A or X, depending on Xbox or PlayStation, is your jump button. And on PC, using a mouse, left click is your best friend. Now, if you hit your jump button twice, you can see that first jump and then a boost for a second jump. You can also point in any direction with the left stick, forwards, backwards, left, and right. Rocket League is all about timing, and you can delay your second jump by hitting X or A a few moments later to get that delayed jump. So get to practicing your game for the upcoming Rocket League High School Tournament. My name's Kevin, and I'll see you next week.
For our final segment of the show, Joel brings us an interview with an educator on the leading edge of high school esports.
All right, Joel Graves here with James O'Hagan, who is the man of many titles. How are you doing, James?
I am doing well, and you're right. It feels like I'm carrying every one of those titles every day right now with our COVID reentry in our school district, so I appreciate that.
How have you become involved with esports? Is it just something that someone asked you to look into as esports have evolved within Wisconsin, or how did that really happen?
Actually, my path for esports starts about 20 years ago. I was a 5th grade educator coming out of college, and in college our game of choice was StarCraft, and came into a school district on the south side of Chicago, and they had just upgraded all their computers to Pentiums. This is how far back we're talking. So they had just made the leap to Intel Pentium chipped computers, got rid of all their 486s. And they had all these 486s laying around, and I said, well, let's do something with these. Let's teach the kids how to network. Let's play some StarCraft. Of course, we only had one copy of StarCraft, and I was a poor teacher. So hopefully the Blizzard people aren't going to come after me for maybe making some slight modifications to the licensing agreements that they give. But we were playing competitive StarCraft tournaments in school when these kids were in 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. Then fast forward several years into the future, and I'm in Rockford, Illinois at the time as the Director of Instructional Technology. And, you know, it's one of those conversations that happened at the right place, the right time. Talking to an assistant soup, and he said, hey, I saw this thing online or on 60 Minutes where they're giving out scholarships for competitive video game play. Is that something we can do? And I went, absolutely. It was like, yeah, you don't think of video games as being something in schools. I'd always try to bring in different games like StarCraft or SimCity or other kinds of simulators that we can bring into games or into schools. But esports was really just, again, a casual conversation that just happened in the hallway. And it was like getting that permission from somebody who has money to put into these things makes it really helpful. So yeah, that's how we got started in Rockford. It was back in 2014 when we launched we started planning in 2013, and we launched our first high school varsity esports team at Guilford High School in Rockford, Illinois in 2014.
Esports is really it was such a niche thing, but now a lot of schools and institutions are starting to bring those into their programs and offer scholarships. Not many people a few years ago were like, you can go get a full ride through esports scholarships, which is amazing.
Well, it was something that, again, we were looking at this not only from a scholarship standpoint, but also both in Racine and where I am now and in Rockford. I launched the program at both places. We really looked at this as an opportunity for us to engage kids in different ways. We knew, particularly in Rockford, that we were in a city that was one of the FBI's highest crime rate cities, where gang problems were huge, and we knew that we needed to find ways to keep kids off the streets after school. Again, we were a school district that was low performing. We had, again, gang issues and poverty issues, but we know that if we are able to keep kids involved in extracurricular activities, and if we get them involved with positive adult interaction and we get them playing, number of things happen. GPAs go up and attendance increases. And if we can get those positive adult interactions, if we can get kids into positive situations where they are able to play and develop good relationships, we know too that that will help them educationally. And what's been great about that, even with Rockford, I know many school districts probably have, if you don't make grades, you get kicked off the team. And we knew in Rockford that wasn't going to work. We can't keep kicking kids off the team and kicking them back to the streets. So we had to make sure that this program was going to meet the kids where they were at and not be exclusive, but really make sure that the focus of this, again, was giving kids multiple opportunities to participate in something, find that thing in school. And we've done the same thing with the Racine Unified School District.
How COVID-19 has affected esports at the academic level, and how the school district you work with works around that.
So it's not going to be this year. Of course, right now, a lot of schools are going back remotely. And what we've taken as far as remotely, how are we going to use esports this fall in particular, is that we're looking at this as an opportunity to experiment with different types of games and different platforms. Because we know not all of the kids in our community have PCs or consoles or even phones. So we're trying to find ways that can allow them to engage in different types of gameplay rather than the traditional model. And we hope that this is going to, again, expand the potential that we have for more serious competitive play when we are able to return to where we are. We actually base all 5 of our high schools out of one single location in the city of Racine. We've partnered with a place called Not Your Parents' Basement. It's a gaming lounge in downtown Racine. And it's great to bring all 5 high schools together because it creates this whole new community, which has been really cool. But what I'm worried about is a lot of people have this idea in their head that esports is COVID proof. And I've heard that many times. And what we're going to find, it's not this year, but next year, when states are going to struggle, especially state schools and public schools are going to struggle because state tax revenues are going to be down. I predict that there's going to be cuts, and there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be looking at what can be cut. And so if you're involved in an esports program right now and you feel it's very successful, now's the time to really pump up and make it public and invite people in and let them see it, because even though esports is more accessible than football is in the COVID times, it is still this fragile glass egg that we have to take care of and protect and promote and show people just how cool it really is.
Oh, well, that sounds, I totally agree with that. And I think that wraps it up for us today. Thank you again, James, for coming out.
Yeah, thank you, Joel, for having me on. Great show, and thank you. I appreciate your time.
All right, and that is it for this week, but don't forget to come back next time for an all-new episode. Before we go, we'd like to thank once again Lawrence Tech and Hungry Howie's for helping us bring this show to you. Have a great week.